Stephen Paul Jobs, February 24, 1955, October 5, 2011, was an American businessman, inventor, and investor best known for co-founding the technology giant Apple Incorporated. Jobs was also the founder of Next and chairman and majority shareholder of Pixar. He was a pioneer of the personal computer revolution of the 1970s and 1980s, along with his early business partner and fellow Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak. Jobs was born in San Francisco in 1955 and adopted shortly afterwards. He attended Reed College in 1972 before withdrawing that same year. In 1974, he traveled through India, seeking enlightenment before later studying Zen Buddhism. He and Wozniak co-founded Apple in 1976 to further develop and sell Wozniak's Apple I personal computer. Together, the duo gained fame and wealth a year later with production and sale of the Apple II, one of the first highly successful mass-produced microcomputers. Jobs saw the commercial potential of the Xerox Alto in 1979. Which was mouse-driven. This led to the development of the unsuccessful Apple Lisa in 1983, followed by the breakthrough Macintosh in 1984, the first mass-produced computer with a GUI. The Macintosh introduced the desktop publishing industry in 1985. With the addition of the Apple Laser Writer, the first laser printer to feature vector graphics. In 1985, Jobs departed Apple after a long power struggle with the company's board and its then CEO, John Sculley. That same year, Jobs took some Apple employees with him to found Next, a computer platform development company that specialized in computers for higher education and business markets, serving as its CEO. In 1986, he helped develop the visual effects industry by funding the computer graphics division of Lucasfilm that eventually spun off independently as Pixar, which produced the first 3D computer animated feature film Toy Story, 1995, and became a leading animation studio, producing over 27 films. 1997, Jobs returned to Apple as CEO after the company's acquisition of Next. He was largely responsible for reviving Apple, which was on the verge of bankruptcy. He worked closely with British designer Johnny Ive to develop a line of products and services that had larger cultural ramifications, beginning with the Think Different advertising campaign, and leading to the iMac, iTunes, Mac OS X, Apple Store, iPod, iTunes Store, iPhone, App Store, and iPad. In 2003, a pancreatic neuroendocrine tumor. He died of respiratory arrest related to the tumor in 2011, and in 2022, was posthumously awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. In February 1974, Jobs returned to his parents' home in Los Altos and began looking for a job. He was soon hired by Atari Incorporated in Los Gatos, California, as a computer technician. Back in 1973, Steve Wozniak designed his own version of the classic video game Pong and gave its electronics board to Jobs. According to Wozniak, Atari only hired Jobs because he took the board down to the company, and they thought that he had built it himself. Atari's co-founder Nolan Bushnell later described him difficult but valuable, pointing out that he was very often the smartest guy in the room. and he would let people know that. Jobs traveled to India in mid-1974 to visit Neem Karoli Baba at his Kenchi ashram with his Reed friend, and eventual Apple employee, Daniel Kotke, searching for spiritual teachings. When they got to the Neem Karoli ashram, it was almost deserted because Neem Karoli Baba had died in September 1973. Then they made a long trek up a dry riverbed to an ashram of Haidakan Babaji. After 7 months, Jobs left India and returned to the US ahead of Daniel Kotke. Jobs had changed his appearance, his head was shaved, and he wore traditional Indian clothing. During this time, Jobs experimented with psychedelics, later calling his LSD experiences one of the 2 or 3 most important things done in life. He spent a period at the All One Farm, a commune in Oregon that was owned by Robert Friedland. During this time period, Jobs and Brennan both became practitioners of Zen Buddhism through the Zen master Kobun Chino Odagawa. Jobs engaged in lengthy meditation retreats at the Tassajara Zen Mountain Center, the oldest Soto Zen monastery in the U.S. He considered taking up monastic residence at Eiheiji in Japan, and maintained a lifelong appreciation for Zen, Japanese cuisine, and artists such as Hasui Kawase. Jobs returned to Atari in early 1975, and that summer, Bushnell assigned him to create a circuit board for the arcade video game Breakout in as few chips as possible, knowing that Jobs would recruit Wozniak for help. During his day job at HP, Wozniak drew sketches of the circuit design. At night, he joined Jobs at Atari and continued to refine the design, which Jobs implemented on a breadboard. According to Bushnell, Atari offered $100, equivalent to about $500 in 2022, for each TTL chip that was eliminated in the machine. Jobs made a deal with Wozniak to split the fee evenly between them if Wozniak could minimize the number of chips. Much to the amazement of Atari engineers, within 4 days Wozniak reduced the TTL count to 45, far below the usual 100.